Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, I have my co-host, Kelly. Are you there, Kelly?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Kelly.
And I have my other co-host, Barbara. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Hi.
Now, Barbara, being this is your guest, why don't you introduce him to everybody?
Okay. This is a very special day. We're so excited to have a police officer from the LAPD, Tim Ruiz. He has been on the force for 22 years. I think we're going to be able to learn a lot from him today. He's also a training officer on the force, which is like, wow, that's awesome. And I am proud to call him a friend as well. Tim helped me when I had a big problem, and right afterwards we became friends. And do you know how long ago? Well, that was like 8 years ago. So welcome to the show, Tim.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Jonathan. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. This is really special because you're very busy, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Did you know it's been 8 years? I was counting back. I'm pretty sure it was 8 years ago when I had that problem. Can you believe that?
Yeah, 8 years. That was a while back. Yes. Yes, your daughter was like, what, 8, 7?
Well, no, she was like 4 or 5. She was 4.
Oh, wow.
She was 4. She wasn't even in kindergarten. I know, and she's in 7th grade. Yes, I remember.
Time flies.
Yes,
Time flies.
time totally flies. So I just tell, I won't elaborate too much, but how we met.
Yes, go ahead, yes.
You have to think a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I came home. I went and picked up my little girl from preschool, and I went home, and it was locked. My key didn't work. The locks were changed, and I couldn't believe it. My husband at the time locked me out of the condo. So I called my dad, and he said, go to the police station right away. And so I did, and I told them, you get nervous when you have to go into a police station. I was like, I get nervous. I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm still nervous. So I'm sure they're used to that. So I went in there, and then they dispatched this couple, like this team, partnership. One was Tim, and one was this other guy. I think he was the Russian guy. Was it a Russian partner you had?
Shoot, I don't remember, Barbara. It's been a long time.
You probably have a lot of partners over the years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but to me, that's my experience. So I remember he was like a foreigner. So, and you were training him, I think. And then you came out, and you're so big, and you're so tall, and you had this serious look on your face. You're like, tell us what's going on. I'm like, ooh, you were super intimidating, Tim. And then now after that,
well, you know what? Yeah,
barbecue.
everybody says that. Everybody says that. Yes.
Really?
But I'm actually a very nice guy. I'm a very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Yes, you are. And then I told you that, and you go, well, we have a different face when we're on duty, and it's true. You have to, but it was completely different. He was completely different. I went to a barbecue.
Professional, yeah, yes.
Very professional. And then we went to Elkie and I, and they know Elkie because she's been on the show, went over to your home, and I met your mom and your uncle, who was totally cool, and a big family for the boxing match, and we watched it outside, and it was so fun. And you were super nice, and you became my friend, which doesn't always happen. I meet police officers, and they don't always become my friends. So anyway, I said, this is what happened. So they said, okay, we're going to follow you to your home, and then we'll go from there. So we go up in the elevator, and then, okay, I think I may have dropped off my daughter before. I don't remember if she was there, but we were up in the hallway and I was with the policemen, and they were knocking on the door. Then they start pounding on the door. And this is a nice high-rise in Marina del Rey, and people were peeking out. I mean, you hear the radios going off. And then I was peeking around like, do it harder, because I knew he was in there. And they start slamming and slamming, and they're like, "Man, I don't think he's going to answer." And then what? Then what? You have to come back the next day, and where do I go, you know? So I said, just try one more time, really loud and hard. And they did. And that's when he opened the door. Ha, 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 ha. And they said, you sit down right now and don't look at her. So I could go in. I was done. Nobody locked me out, okay? By the way, that's a misdemeanor. You cannot legally lock your spouse out of the home. And they even asked me, after they pounded and pounded, they're like, well, are you really married? And I said, here's my marriage license. I don't know why I had my marriage license on me, but I did. Isn't that funny?
Gosh, yeah. Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
You? That's so funny. And then they said, sit down, and we could arrest you for a misdemeanor. And so I got my computer. I got all of my stuff. Luckily, I didn't have too much stuff. We just had moved in there, and it was like a place that was already furnished. So I just got all my stuff, and I was, maybe not all of it, because you guys, that's right, you guys came back the next day and helped me get the rest of my stuff. How awesome is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
We did.
Oh,
yes, we did.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation. It was considered like a kind of domestic violence. We kind of really take domestic violence very serious. So we have to try to make sure we do everything right regarding domestic violence. Yeah.
Really? Because people go ballistic. I mean, you've got emotions going on. Is that why you take it really seriously?
Well, you know, it goes back. It goes back all the way back to the O.J. Simpson trial. We weren't taking it serious, but now we're starting to take it a lot serious. Domestic violence is very serious with the department. It's just we have to go by policy. We have to make sure everything's done right. And it's all policies we have to go by.
Really? You really impressed me that day, though. I mean, you stood out.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You make
well,
me
that's
blush.
probably why you're training people, really.
Yes.
That's probably why you're training people, though, right?
Yes. 10 years.
Well,
it's been 10 years.
10 years. Well, how is it when you get somebody, okay, that's your partner, but you're training them. Do you feel completely safe with a trainee as your partner?
Yeah, what we do is they go through a academy. You know, they apply for the police department, and they go through a really tough background check. They check their credit. They go talk to neighbors, and they do everything. They go through a polygraph test. They check everything. Once they complete all the stages in the background, then they go into the academy. And the academy takes about six months, which includes firearms, tactics, straight training, law school, and it just goes on and on. After 6 months, then they send them to the field, and they send them to me. And it's just they're very scared the first time they meet me. They're very scared about how to approach people. It's just, and then I take them to the street, and we handle all sorts of radio calls and all that. Yes.
You know, actually,
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Well,
John.
it's funny. Sometimes, and I've made this comment before, policemen are still by the book. They appear to be not by the book. Like, let me explain to you what I mean. I was in school, and I was, like, waiting in between classes, and I decided that I was going to get there early, you know, sit there and wait in front of the building just because I didn't want to miss their class, so I waited there like an hour earlier. And then this policeman walked up to me, and he goes, okay, so hi, what's your name? I said, my name is Jonathan Alexander. He says, what are you doing here? And I said, well, you know, I'm waiting on my class to start, and I decided I'd come here early, and, you know, and that way if I could get head started and not miss the class. So he says, okay. All right, so in other words, you're not doing okay. So don't worry, you're not doing anything. And then he takes out a notepad and starts writing something down. And then I said, and I was thinking to myself, you told me I wasn't doing anything, and you're writing something down. What's up with this? And I talked to somebody else who was a policeman, and he goes, look, the reason they do that is everything they do needs to be documented, everything, even if it's something silly, because otherwise you're going to start wondering, about, like well, what did you do what did you do in those hours? Does that make sense? But
no, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
But to somebody who isn't a policeman, they may be thinking, wait a minute, you just told me I wasn't doing anything. Why are you writing something down,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people get intimidated by when officers ask you questions and all that, but they're just basically asking, did he ask you your name? Did he ask you how old are you and this and that? Did he ask you basic questions?
I don't remember him asking me my how old I was. I do remember him telling him I was a student. I mean, I wasn't hiding anything like that. I just said that, I came here and wanted to sit late in front of the building, so that I could get to my class. And then,
but Johnny, that was at the time that somebody called them and said, this guy is scaring me out, or was that a different time?
This was a different time.
Okay.
This was something, I mean, the other time, I think I'll tell him the story about the other time if you don't mind. Can I tell him the story about the other time?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me the story.
Okay. I was going back from the gym, and I had, and the reason I'm telling you all this is to let you know there's nothing in the bag that I was carrying that was dangerous. I mean, it was a bag of combos. It was a CD and some milk, which is whole milk,
Okay.
So I'm carrying it back, and then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by 5 police cars. And they said to me, well, what's going on? They asked me my name, my social security number, and everything. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then after they quizzed me, they said, well, it's not like you committed any real crime. You were just scaring some people, okay? And the only thing I can think of, Tim, is that I'm disabled. And sometimes when I walk, a person might look at me and might think I'm drunk when I'm not.
Yeah, okay.
And I've never been drunk in my life. So I'm sitting around here. It's like I found the idea that I'm really compulsive when it comes to people not being afraid of me. Like when we first started doing the show, I made it a point to tell Kelly never be afraid to call me on the phone and tell me what she thought. Because in the beginning she was. Same thing with Barbara. I had to really – but why would a policeman do that?
Okay. Let me tell you why. Because what we do is we initially get a radio call. A radio call is generated and is dispatched to the officers out there. But it probably came out as the public would probably thought you were drunk. So it came out as a person drunk in public, 390 man, which we call it. So we get a basic radio call. When we get there, a 10-year officer like me, I have 22 years on, I would try to talk to you, and I could kind of see if you're either drunk or maybe disabled, or have type of disability. So the way they approach you, we got to find out who we are. So we go basically off of a radio call. Based on what we only get like maybe a limited description of what you're wearing, what's the crime, who's reporting it.
Yeah.
So then when we get there, we got to find out, well, is there a crime or what's going on, and we got to maybe investigate it more. So the officers, I mean, we get a lot of slack from the public saying, well, they're too forceful or whatever, but they have to understand when we're getting there, we don't know what we're going up against. We don't know what we have. We don't know if the person that, like you say, we didn't know if you have a knife or anything. We don't know. We're still human, and we still are frightened or scared when we approach certain subjects or individuals. So that's what they do. So if they come out forceful, they just don't know. They're trying to feel you out. And that's what basically we were doing. They were doing.
That's right. That's a good point where you say you're human because you're going out there and every second could be your life is threatened. You don't know.
Well,
So,
exactly.
I mean, there are cases where somebody could have a gun or somebody could have.
Exactly.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Even after 22 years, I still get scared when I go approach when I have a call of like something like your call, like where they probably said, "Oh, a person is drunk in public, walking." When I get there, I have to size somebody up. I have to look at them, and sometimes I still get scared because I don't know if the person has a gun, a knife, or if it's going to escalate into an officer-involved shooting. I mean, it's just it's just we have to think within seconds. We have to always be observant and think, and it's tough. We're human, so we're allowed to feel certain emotions.
yes, you are, and you never know, which brings me to one of my questions today. How do you deal with that? Getting up every day and putting yourself in that atmosphere, in that where, hey, any second, you don't know what's going to happen. You are risking your life to protect and serve, which is so commendable. How do you mentally deal with that?
You know what? It's very tough. It took me about, 22 years. I'm still barely getting used to it. What I do is I kind of like get home and I kind of relax. I kind of like stay away, maybe come home. And I'll be honest with you, I burn a couple of candles. You know, I have my girlfriend, she puts music on. Frank Sinatra, I love Frank Sinatra. I mean, just kind of, our blood pressure is so high when we get home, and we got to just lower it and come down and calm down and have like a little tranquil place and all this stuff. And it's just, it takes work. And working out's a very good thing too. It's just our blood pressure. That's why a lot of officers have strokes and heart attacks, because when we go to calls, our blood pressure is high because we're like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We have that. What do they call it? There's a certain word for it where we're going to a call. We're going code 3, what they call lights and sirens. We're going for emergency. Our blood pressure is
adrenaline.
Adrenaline is way up high, and we have to bring it down. In order for us to bring it down, is we got to maybe isolate us from the public for a while, just to bring it down enough, and then we could go back out. And I learned how to do it throughout these 22 years. I've learned how to do it. Yes.
Yes, I've always wondered that. So everybody has their own different way, and some people don't have their way, which then can lead to a heart attack. So that's cool. You're very spiritual then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, my mother.
Very aware.
That's my mom's side.
Wow, really? Oh, that's so, and she's so super sweet, you guys. His mom, she's just a perfect mom. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, so the reason that I thought of having a police officer on is because Kelly sent us something in Messenger, which really struck me, and cause we've been hearing about this a lot, right, Kelly? And it's human trafficking. Yeah. So she sent me this officer doing a little video about it, and I said, I know, Tim, I'll try to get him on. So we would love to hear, what are the dangers out there? What is it? What's going on? Are we safe going to, they say, watch out for like the Walmart or Target parking lots. What about the grocery store? I mean, what about any parking lot? Like, what do they do? What should we do to protect ourselves?
Well, I mean, for human trafficking, I mean, what that is, that's basically like, say somebody like maybe the cartel or maybe some gangs, they go to, and they recruit people from different countries. They bring them in, and they say they lie to them. They offer them, hey, I'll get you work for this, and I'll pay you this, and they bring them in. And what they do is they don't do the work that they thought they were going to do. They don't get paid they don't get paid what they said they were going to pay them, and they do other things, which is like prostitution, maybe work at sweatshops, maybe do that. And they bring them in. They'll hold their passports, and then they'll take away their cell phones, any communications. I mean, it's just those people are victims, and then they don't want to come to the PD because they're afraid they're going to be sent back to their country. So they work in those bad environments, and that's what basically human trafficking is. But there's another one called human smuggling.
Oh.
Human smuggling is
Okay.
human smuggling is different. Human smuggling is like, say, you have those coyotes that go to Mexico and they bring people that want to come to United States, and that's called human smuggling. And what they do is they'll charge them maybe $2,000 to bring them in over the border, and then if they don't have the money, they'll make them work until they pay it off. That's human smuggling. Well, human trafficking is they come over wanting to come into the United States, but they're told, hey, we'll give you a nice house. We'll you come and work at my business, and we'll give you this much money. But they're promised certain things, but yet they end up being prostitutes, or they end up working in sweatshops. That's human trafficking.
Are they targeting? Okay. And I pretty much knew that, but there's this other new thing, which I want to know, is this real or not, where they say, okay, you're just a mom like me. You have a young teenage daughter, which that she could be a target for this sex trafficking. So they say that make sure you go on her side, let her into the car, shut the door and lock it before you go around, because they're even snatching them. You unlock the door electronically and they get in, but you can't protect them and they snatch them. I mean, is this really true? Is this happening?
Well, you know what I mean. I don't know, Barbara. I mean, it depends on am I going to do that in Beverly Hills? No. Am I going to do it in certain areas? No. I don't. I mean, I can't really say that's going on. It's just that's being very observant. That's being very you're protecting your child. But I don't know if everybody should be doing that. I mean, I don't think it's that for you and your daughter. I don't think it's that big of an issue for that.
Oh, good. Oh, Kelly, were you worried about that? Like this was like, oh gosh, we can't even go to Target anymore. We might get put in a trunk and taken away. We wake up, we don't know where we are, and we're gone. Were you worried?
Yeah, because I'm hearing a lot of things happening around Michigan. Because Michigan is huge because they're taken through Canada because it's easier because we're right there, right at the borders with Canada, northern Michigan, and people, can be taken right through Detroit to Windsor. So, yeah, you're hearing about it like all over the place in Michigan. And,
actually, I don't know. Michigan's really bad right now. I don't know about Michigan. It's pretty. The human trafficking is pretty up there in Michigan.
Yeah, it's.
If I'm not mistaken, it's about number 2. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, like Brian was saying, it was like number 2, like 2 years ago in the United States.
What was number 1?
So, yeah, what was
that? I don't know.
Yeah, we're not sure what number 1 was, but
Post the video again.
yeah, we can probably post the video again, but
How can they tell though, Kelly, that okay, if that person has been taken and never found again and missing, how do they know that was human trafficking or a kidnapping or some other kind of thing? How are they even coming up with the statistics?
Well, the thing is that it's supposed to be like, oh no, okay, I have a couple of stats for you guys. It's supposed to be like 2 million in the nation regarding human trafficking incidents. I think LA has 18,000 a year for human trafficking incidents. So I mean, I think it's more like us as officers. The only way we could see it is if we get to a call, say we get a radio call, and we get there and we kind of identify, well, this is a human trafficking, like sweatshops would be considered like a human trafficking, because you have people that are underpaid and they don't know, they came from the country, they don't even have their passports. Usually the person that brings them over keeps their passports with them, so they don't have no passports and have no cell phones, they have no communications or anything. That's how we can identify. But I don't know about Michigan.
Oh, we had some that were busted here that were illegal massage parlors, and I'm not saying, the, federally licensed massage therapists. Yeah. I'm saying like the open 24 hours and they're doing illegal favors, those kind that got busted because they didn't have like their passports, they didn't have documentation, they were illegal, people over here, and they were basically human trafficking victims. And there's a lot of people that are over here that are human trafficking victims, and there are a lot of people that are taken out of here as human trafficking victims, and some of them are teenagers that are runaways, and they're being lured on the internet to go, meet somebody and they don't come back. Yeah,
they are the ones who are being targeted. But would it be like somebody like you, Kelly, a very confident woman, businesswoman that's doing errands? Would it be somebody like you, or do they want like the teenagers that are like kind of helpless that they're targeting?
They're mostly usually the younger ones, or like women that are younger and pregnant, or have young kids. But I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's also young boys, but and teenagers. But yeah, but it's everywhere. It's really scary once you like under and you find out things. And I'm looking at the 10 states with the highest number of reported human trafficking cases are California with 1,656, Michigan with 383, Georgia with 375, Nevada with 313, Illinois with 296, North Carolina with 257, Pennsylvania with 275, Arizona with 231, as of November 7, 2019. And this is world population ratio.
You just had a case today. I mean, you just had a case today that what happened is it happened in San Jose. It just happened today. I mean, today or yesterday, where a 16-year-old was abducted from a beach in San Jose, and she was taken to a Motel 6 in San Jose. What happened? They were holding her. Kidnapped her, and it was a 16-year-old little girl. And what she did is she was able to get to her phone and use her Snapchat and text her friends saying, "Hey, I was kidnapped and this and that." And what happens? The friends were able to use. I don't have Snapchat, but I was reading the article. The friends were able to locate her through a Snapchat, I guess GPS they have on Snapchat. The officers were able to rescue her at the hotel. It was a Motel 6 in San Jose, and they caught the 3 suspects. So I mean, yes, it's an ongoing thing like that. It's an ongoing. But see, technology it helped her out. Technology helped her out, and her friends were aware of it, and that's what kind of helped out the PD to locate her. And it just happened to
I want to make a comment on this because that's interesting. That's really interesting considering the fact that I mean, I live in Florida, but I used to live in Georgia, and basically you said the top 3 were Michigan, California, and Georgia. That's interesting because I had my nephews are autistic. I have 4 nephews; they're all autistic, and a kid's autistic. He's not going to talk, so he tends to just wander off. Is what Van does and Alex does. And the thing is that
he'd be a perfect candidate for this.
And you can't tell them not to talk to strangers because it doesn't matter. I mean, Alex just isn't gonna talk anyway. And I got to thinking, your sister. Sorry, go on.
She probably watches him like a hawk, right? Your sister, she probably does. But what about me?
Does.
Okay, I have a normal child here who is going to be 13, and we just moved here from Arizona. In Arizona, we lived in a modern Mayberry town. She rode her bikes every day after school with her friends. It took me a long time to let her to do that, but the other parents are like, it's okay as long as they're together. Well, now she doesn't have any friends here. And she wants to go across the street to Rite Aid or 7-Eleven and get treats or go to Petco. Everything's on that corner, our corner. Petco to look at the birdies. And sometimes she's like, I don't care what you say, Mom. I'm going. I mean, I try to hold her back. I try to hold her down. And she's bigger than me now, okay? So,
yeah.
Okay. And there's no dad around. So, it's not easy. So, what do you say about that? I mean, every time she leaves, which has been 3 times in 9 months since we've been here, I'm like sweating bullets, worrying. And I even get in the car and I go look for her and I see her. But she has blue hair. So, that they probably wouldn't target her because she has blue hair.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I saw that. I saw that, Barbara. I saw it. She has blue hair. What the hell? Why does she have blue hair? What happened? What's blue hair? What's that about? I saw on the Instagram. I was like, what the hell? You need police for the blue hair. That's what you need.
I said, oh, we can do it for Christmas. And I mean, literally begging me for 5 years, and I held her off. But she went and did it herself, and then it was horrible, and she was so upset. So I had to take her to the salon, and I said, this is your big Christmas present. But anyway, I'm thinking, you know what? That's probably protecting her because nobody wants a kid with blue hair. I mean, that's easy to spot.
Well, no, she's a target because they see blue hair. All they see is a little girl walking with blue hair. It's a target, and she stands out. No, but you know what's like that? I mean, something like that. I mean, does she want to go during the nighttime? That's the big thing. She wants to go.
No way.
Go during the day, or you can't go at night because when it's not a lot of people out there in the streets. I mean, you got to go out during the day. I mean, there's certain ways they have tracking devices to help you track. I mean, you could have her just carry that tracking device. Okay, well, you know, let me give you an example. You have Sprint. Sprint has a very good tracking device. You walk in, it's very reasonable. They'll probably give it to you for free. And it's a small little, it's the size of maybe a battery. And you just maybe have your children. Some people put in their dogs. Some people put it on their spouses. And what you do is just have them put it in their pocket, and it tracks them. It tracks them, and it allows you to see where they're at all times. That's something to have because right away when say they were kidnapped, say they're kidnapped, right away the first thing that goes is their phone, their cell phone. They'll take their cell phone away. But they're not gonna really check the pockets, but they have the tracking device inside. There's something there's always ways to monitor the children.
Okay, because this is my other big question I was going to ask you. What should we have as women, men, whatever, but mostly as women, on us as a weapon? Should we get mace, a stun gun? I used to carry mace. I think mine's expired now. So should we get it? And then if so, where do we get this?
You know what? I've always like tried to teach my daughter. You know, she's 21 years old now, Barbara. She's 21 years old.
Wow.
But yeah, I know she's gonna graduate from college. But I always got her mace. But I've always told my children about any children I came across or classrooms that I've taught. I always tell them noise is the best thing. If they feel threatened, if they feel that someone's going to approach them, they don't feel right, get up one of those loud noise makers. You know, they have those little, you know, in the basketball games where, you know, you hear it. Those horns. Yes. Your voice. Scream, yow. That's the biggest thing because it brings attention to everybody. It scares the person away usually. It's the same thing as people when they break it. Yes, it's the same thing.
They're scared to spray something. They haven't even been trained to spray it. You know, it's mace. Watch out, be careful. Don't let it go off. Yeah, and in this situation, they're just going to get it out and have time to even get it ready to spray.
If you're not used to doing things all the time, when I'm gonna not make a cuss, but when the shit hits the fan, are you gonna react? If you're gonna react correctly, because if someone's attacking you, it's like a 6 second delay where you're like, oh, this is actually happening, but your body doesn't react. It's like 6 seconds. So for you to, unless you don't train all the time, you might fumble it down. That horn is the best thing. Your voice, your screaming is the best thing for them to scare them off.
Okay. And so, okay.
I
Also, what is? Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, thanks. I heard like in the 70s there was a lady being raped in New York, and when she was screaming and yelling rape, people were watching because they were afraid to call the police. So if you yell fire, more people are apt to react to that. Is that true?
Yes, it is very, very true. You know, when I used to teach my daughter's kindergarten, and then the school used to always bring me in to teach the kids, and that's the first thing I used to tell them when they feel threatened. Fire. That's because everybody knows that.
Actually,
everybody knows that's an emergency.
I've heard another good thing to say is I don't know him. Because if somebody is running after you and they say I don't know him, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but sometimes people might be afraid to get involved, or just the same as yelling help. So if you yell fire, that's kind of universal.
And then fire also, it stays in the child's mind. They'll say fire right away because they know it's danger. They'll kind of like it just automatically come out fire. And it would automatically come to their head right away. It's easier for them to remember.
That's good. Okay. Good point. Okay, what is illegal for us to carry in our? Because I have a Swiss Army knife in my glove compartment. Is this illegal to carry?
Okay. I don't know the state you guys. One is Jonathan, Kelly. You guys are different states, right? Or
yeah.
I'm in Florida.
Michigan and Florida.
You're Florida. See, the laws are different. Us is the blade can't be 3 to 4. You can't conceal a knife within 3 to 4 inches. The blade can't be 3 to 4 inches. You could conceal one less. I don't think a knife would be good. Mace, I would have you take mace, and mace is legal. There's certain legal mace that you could use. The ones we use is illegal. Only the military, the police force could use that mace because it's a lot stronger and it shoots a lot further. But the mace that you could buy at gun stores or your CVS or whatever. That mace is legal. And it's effective mace. It's an effective mace. It's a distraction. You can't expect a guy to go down and cry and say sorry, I give up. It just allows you to get away, and it's a distraction, and that's what's useful.
Okay, and we can get it there. I also got one at the hardware store once. So everybody who's listening, you can get it. Drugstores, just look it up because I think, I want to get the horn for Priscilla, and I want to get mace for me and a horn, and take some classes. Do you recommend taking classes? So, because you say there's 6 seconds, but what if you're trained? What if you're ready? What if you know this could happen? Your mind may give you 3 more seconds of preparation. Cut down that time of being like shocked to where, hey, yeah, I was trained. This could happen. Somebody's grabbed me from behind. Do you suggest self-defense classes?
Yes, and that will work too. I mean, again, it's more like if you train and you train and you train and you make it a routine. You train. It's gonna if something happens, your body's gonna react to it, and it's gonna be like a training motion where you're gonna always do it. It's just train. If you don't train and it happens, it's not gonna run straight. It's gonna be out there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There won't be a response. You're going to automatically do it.
It won't respond. And it's the same with police officers. I deal with people every day of certain calls, but I know when I get to a call, I dealt with this. I know how to deal with it. I know what I need to do. Or if I get in a fight with somebody, or if I need to take action, I know exactly what to do because we're trained and we deal with this every single day. So, yeah, I mean, I just say if you're going to go for like any type of self-defense classes or anything, just train. Just keep on doing it over and over and over, and then your body will react to it if it does happen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I want to know a little more about you and I've always wondered, when you are faced with one of those chases, say a car chase or chase on foot, do you feel like, oh my gosh, and I want to know, how often does that happen? I'm not sure. Does it happen on a weekly basis? Probably not a daily basis. And is that rare? And how does your adrenaline feel then? I mean, how does your heart feel then? I mean, you're chasing down a guy. They're running from you. They could have a weapon. Put us in that situation that you're in. Describe that.
Well, it goes for we have certain calls, or when we get a radio call, a code 3 is emergency, where we go lights and siren. That's when you hear an officer going lights and siren, going through intersection and red lights and all that. That's a code 3. That's emergency response. Then we have a code 2, which is okay, get there, but get there safely, but get there in fast. And then you have your non-coded calls where maybe it's just a alarm going off or whatever. Just check it out. When we get the code 3 calls, which is emergency, could be assault with a deadly weapon, 187, which is a murder, or which is a man with a gun, or pursuit, or officer needs help, our adrenaline is up high. Our blood pressure is high because we want to get there. We want to make sure the officer's okay. We want to make sure we get there and everything is safe. And when we're getting there, an officer who's driving, and his main job is to get us there safely. The passenger reads a little comment of what the person's wearing, what is he doing, and what kind of weapon he had, and those descriptions. So we're getting there. We're wondering, okay, what are we going to have? So everything's going through our head, like, okay, when we get there, what are we going to do? Are we going to use this type of force? Or we're trying to run all types of scenarios because we don't know what we're going to have until we get there. So you got to understand, our blood pressure is high. Is super high because it's the unknown. It's the unknown. I mean, when I first got to LAPD, I was scared because we used to go into like what we called Code 30, which is a burglar alarm, and we get there and the doors open. We got to go and search a house that is super dark, and you don't know who's going to jump out or anything. Imagine you get killed for somebody else's house that you never even met. That's your adrenaline is so high. It's so high. Yeah, so that's basically what we do.
Wow. Okay, have you ever had a partner, like, fold on you, like, I can't do it, and get so afraid and just freeze?
Yeah. I mean, after 22 years, we have that. I had that where people don't like, there's officers that don't like seeing dead bodies. They cannot investigate dead bodies and have to stay outside. They're just, they can't, I don't know, something about a dead body where they can't investigate it. So they have to give it up to us. There's
what
some
about
officers
running?
that don't.
Running
there's
after
people that
somebody
don't run,
and getting afraid.
Or they freeze when, or say we're in a fight with somebody that's on drugs or something, and they just don't. They're again, like we said, the mind works in a weird way where you have it's like a 6-second delay where you see it happening, but your body doesn't react until like 2 seconds later. So it's like a delay, and there's officers that do that. That's why I try to get them during the training, and then try to establish that they're not ready to go out into the next level. So they sometimes they quit, or sometimes we fire them. And that's the way it goes.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, what happens when they do, like, freeze, and they have to let them go, or do they give them another try?
What we try to do with the officers, since they have so much training, when they come to me, they already went through the school, they passed the test and all that. What they do is we evaluate them. We talk to them. We try to tell them, hey, what's going on. We try to work with them. If we work with them and we try to train them more, maybe see if anything we can do to help them out. If they can't, sometimes they realize, well, this job's not for me, because my job's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And they realize it later on, like, wow, this job isn't for me. I mean,
right.
And they usually quit. They quit before they get fired. That's the way they think.
Okay. So that's generally how it works. Well, I have another police officer friend, and he was telling me it was really too bad. And I was saying, hey, let's play act. Let's do this, act it out. Okay, I'm walking along, and you're stopping me. Okay, and just talk to me like that. And so we were doing it. I'm like, well, hello, I was being nice, and why did you say, I had to do this or that? And he said, look, ever since they put the camera on us, we have to totally go by the book. We can't just let somebody go. We have to, because I was pulled over in Arizona when I was moving, and I just went to Chick-fil-A to get something for Priscilla and bring it back, and I was so tired, and I was reaching for a French fry, and I was driving, and apparently my wheel hit the white line. So I was pulled over. So I had to do, literally, recently, I was going to tell you this, I had to do the whole field sobriety test, totally. And I was so sober.
Yeah. No.
I was like, well, why in the world do I look like I'm a drug addict? They kept asking me all of these questions. And I had to do it, and I took off my shoes and everything. It was hot, and I was like, doing it perfectly, by the way. I didn't get anything wrong. And afterwards, I asked them that, and they said, well, we just have to make sure everybody gets home safely. But this is Gilbert, Arizona, and Gilbert has, like, the strongest police force. I mean, they are on you, okay, which is fine. But I just had that experience, and I thought, wow, couldn't they just see, hey, I wasn't drunk, and I wasn't high, and I wasn't on anything, and just let me go. He was telling me, and please tell me if I'm wrong, because he's with a different police force than you. He's not on LAPD. He's like another place in California. But he was saying that the camera is always on him, so he has to be by the book, and he can't, like, be as, like, not bend the rules, but just, like, let a person go without doing the whole 9 yards.
Well, the thing is that with that, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. No, I think he was probably he's wrong. He's wrong. The reason why is that we have what you call a spirit of the law, where is that say I pulled you over, Barbara, and you just reached over for a fry, and you're like weaving out, and I walk up to you, and you tell me, you know what, I was reaching for a fry. I went over a lane, and I could tell right away if you're drinking or not. I would let you go. I would say, okay, just drive safely. Or say someone else on their phone. Sometimes we're all suspect on it, where we're on their phone or we're texting and we kind of go to the right. It's against the law to be on the phone. But sometimes when I get there and I see the person that has been drinking and they tell me the truth, sir, I was just on the phone. I was on the phone. I'm sorry. I kind of see it that way and I let them go. It depends on how tenured the officer is. Usually the officer that's more tenured is more lenient. And we'll say, hey, my suggestion is everybody just cooperate with the officers. Just say, how you doing, sir? This is what happened.
Okay.
And again, we're all human and we all make mistakes.
Just be honest.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. That goes back to what I was saying about the disabled person. I mean, like, for example, some of us, it is true. If you have cerebral palsy, we could look drunk. Most of the time, if I'm in a room with disabled people, I can usually pick out the person who has CP pretty quick. And the reason that I'm able to pick them out is the person with CP always looks exhausted. They always look like they're just flat out exhausted. And they hadn't slept the night before. And it got me thinking, how do you know that somebody is drunk between somebody that is just, because a deaf person, for example, is not going to have a regular voice.
Yes.
How would you tell the difference?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. It took me time on the job. It just took, because you know what? I had a call where this gentleman was walking, and he was in the middle of the street, So we thought, oh, this guy's on drugs or whatever. He must be on something for him to be walking and he's talking to himself and everything. We get there and I try to talk to him and I don't smell nothing or I don't see his eyes or bloodshot or anything. So I'm thinking something's not right. There's something not right. So what I did is I detained him. I'm very nice to the gentleman because he's just spaced out. And I call the RA, and we find out that this guy has a diabetic. He's diabetic. He needs food, and he has lack of food. So he was close to dying. Thank God we called the RA. I just think it's just experience. Like me, I will know. I would try to talk to somebody. I would try to talk to you and say, hey, do you take any medications? Are you right? Anything I could get, I try to use my experience to try to determine if this person is under the influence or just has a disability, and that's what I try to do. Every call I go to. So yeah, you know what? It depends on the officer how much training he has. There's some departments. I don't know how Florida. There's some departments like in maybe Florida or Michigan that maybe don't get that many radio calls. LA is very busy. We're busy. So we handle so many radio calls. We handle so many people that are under the influence of drugs, mental health, domestic, anything you could think of. We handle calls on a daily basis. But there's some departments that don't have it. We handle the average right now. The last 2 days, I've been 20 radio calls a day, and that's including everything. That's 20 radio calls in a day. We're averaging
how many hours
a week. We do 12-hour days. That's 12-hour days. Sometimes we do 14 or 16 hours. Depends if we get an arrest, a late arrest, or sometimes we get a late investigation. We could do 14 to 16-hour days. It's just LA is just it's just they call it a melting pot, but it's a melting like every type of crime you have in LA. So it depends on the training an officer has or the department that gives the training. It depends on their training and experience, and that's what I've concluded. That's how I could determine.
Tough area. You personally are in a tough area around like the Venice area. Tell us your area.
Our area our area is really, really, really. It has a really nice areas, but has really bad areas. You have $1 million homes right next to homeless encampments or drug infested areas. It's just it's a different type of city. Again, LA is just the homeless problem has increased, the drug problem increased, and I don't see it getting any better. It's just Los Angeles is just a very, very different type of city, and it's getting really bad right now.
Well, are you happy though? Because you've been on the force for 22 years. How many years do you have to be on before you are retired and get all of your benefits for serving?
You know what? Honestly, I'm 5 more years. 5 more years. I'm 27 years. I could leave, but I might stay a little longer. It depends. It depends on the situation where I'm at. But I could leave in 5 years. When I'm 44.
Are you happy? Are you nervous? Are you happy? Are you?
I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm very happy because I like what I do. I really enjoy helping people out. There's a satisfaction when you could change a person's life, when you can make a person smile. It's nice to see that you change somebody's life. I mean, when we go to calls, we have to be doctors, we have to be lawyers, we have to be psychologists, psychiatrists, we have to be family counselors. We have to change. When we go to certain calls, we have to change the way we are. It's just a different type of career, a job. We have to be different faces when we go to certain calls. And that's
we really appreciate you. I know I do. I appreciate.
Yeah.
I know. Yes. Like Kelly, and we've all had such wonderful experiences with policemen. Some people have not, and then that's what they take with them. You know, some are really nice, some are super serious, but look what they have to deal with. And that's what we wanted to open up today for people to see. You're a human. You're risking your life every single day on your job. Are they? In a way, but not like you are. So, wow, this is incredible. And we're thankful and grateful for what you do, Tim.
Oh, thank you. But I just want to say, like, I know a lot of people have this negative. They see officers as being negative. They see the law enforcement as just being negative. But we're just human. Again, we're human, and if people just come and cooperate and just see that we don't know everything. When we approach a certain situation, we don't know who you are. So just try to understand that. And before you think that we're just out to make your life miserable, either on the traffic stop or not. We're human. We just want to go home to our family at the end of the day. We just want to make sure, we just want to do our job. And I know, there's bad doctors, there's bad police officers, there's bad lawyers, but majority of the officers are very good officers. And all we want to do is just make sure everything's safe, and we just want to do the right thing. And that's what I want to say.
Well, that's right. Okay. And I was just in Germany recently, and Elke mentioned, and you'll notice that all of our police officers are driving Mercedes and this and that. And I'm like, she's so funny.
You know what? I wish we did. I wish we had.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish
but
we
she
did.
goes, but they're not as nice. Don't expect them to be as nice as the American policemen. And I go, that's right. And I'm glad that she noticed that, because she met you that day. And it was interesting
very nice,
for
very
her.
nice.
It was definitely an experience for her. But Kelly had a big, huge question topic that she wanted to go over, which is how to protect our children on the Internet. Right, Kelly?
Yeah, exactly. Because everything is so accessible on there, and how do we know that we're talking to who we think we're talking to, and how do we know who they're talking to, and how do they know that they're talking to somebody their own age? It's just a whole different world out there than when we were growing up.
No, you're right. It's a totally different world. We didn't have no internet when I was growing up. We didn't have cell phones. We had to go to a payphone and drop a dime just to call somebody and all that. And no, you know what it is that, and again, I'm a father too. I raised my son. He's 28 years old now, and my daughter's 21. So I raised my kids. So as an officer and a dad, I kind of I had to be that way. So what I did, and I'm telling you from an officer and a father too, is I made sure I stood close to them. I made sure I monitored them. I made you don't have to give me your phone, let me see, or give me your computer, let me check. Just kind of talk to them, sit them down, and tell them your concerns. Tell them, hey, this is what I'm concerned. I'm concerned that people that tell them about the people that could go on the internet and try to lure the kids. And you got to talk to them, be honest with them. And if you have a good relationship with your child, they would open up to you. They'll say, Dad, I don't like this, or Dad, I don't like that.
Can I have something to say about that?
Yeah.
I had many years ago, there was this game that I had called City of Villains, City of Heroes. I'm not sure if you've seen it or heard of it. It's not around anymore, but you make villains and you make heroes and you make villains. Well, my nephew Ryan loved it. He loved it, and he kept coming over and he kept wanting to play the game. It was like an addictive to him. Well, he told me one time, he says, I want it for my birthday. The gift, to be able to take it and put it on my computer on my birthday. And then I realized, and I thought about it, and I realized that there was a chat room on the game.
Oh.
And
what was it?
There was a chat room on the game. You're chatting with
chat room.
when you play the game.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm thinking, right? So I finally said to my sisters, my sister Tasha, look, I'm okay with him having it. It's not the game per se. It's just that I've been on chat rooms. I've seen the things that are talked about. And I don't want to be held responsible for having to give Ryan some birds and the bees chat that he's not ready to get. He was at the time, I think, around 14 or 15, but that doesn't mean that those things don't happen. So we gave him the game, and we told him some ground rules was, don't tell anybody where you live, don't tell anybody, your phone number, your address, that's basically what we did. I mean, you understand? You think I was pretty? You think I was smart for doing that, or?
I do.
You did the right thing. I mean, again, if you sit down and you tell them the truth, if you tell them, okay, this is what you need to look for. I mean, you have to eventually trust your children to do the right decision, right, to notify you. But you did the right thing, exactly what you're supposed to do. You let them know what is wrong and what's right. And
you would be thinking the same thing I was thinking. It's like the game has a chat room in it, so before long, some sex offender is going to come up to him and say, "Where are you from? Where are you at? Are you at home alone?" And I mean, it's he doesn't realize the stuff that's out there is very scary, and so, but it wasn't a game. I mean, but that's my comment on that. So,
No, you're right. I mean, what you did is the correct way to do it. I mean, you have to educate your children. Basically, you have to educate them. You have to tell them, hey, this is what you look for. You shouldn't be. If someone starts asking you for your personal information, or if they ask you for more, like they want to learn more about you, where you're thinking it has nothing to do with the game, then you got to come and tell me. You have to come and tell your parents, or tell your uncles, or tell your family member what's going on. You have to, and that's the way it should be. It should be. But a lot of parents don't educate their children that way. They're not open. They're kind of like, okay, well, they don't know what they're doing. They're on their computer.
You both did it just right. You both did it just right. The way you weren't so aggressive. When Tim was saying, okay, you don't have to say, give me your computer, give me your phone. I'm checking it right now. They're going to pull back. They're going to hide. And then Johnny did it properly by telling his sister, you might want to look. Yeah. And that is the way to approach a child, gently, and talk to them and work on that really great relationship. And everybody's doing a great job right now. And Priscilla, you know what? It's so interesting. She said, Mom, here's my phone. I want you to check it. Isn't that sweet? She wanted to make sure that she was safe. I know. It was so endearing, and she wanted to make sure she was safe because she wasn't sure. And I checked everything, and I said, no Twitter. Yes, no Twitter. And I saw that she was trying to register for that. And, yes, just monitor it gently, but to them, they think it's gently. But you really are hands-on monitoring.
And then I'm going to bring this something up, too. Like, say, and this is for, parents that think, well, okay, something's going on. Or for the parents that have, children under 18, or they think they're on a wrong chat room, or they think they're doing any type of narcotic, whatever. As a parent, you have the right to go into their room and search their room. You have the right to go in their backpacks and search and make sure that they're not under any influence of any narcotic, or you could go into the computer. There's no they're a minor, so you have that right to do that. So I want to let parents know that. I hope it doesn't go. I hope the trust is there, but if it goes to a point where you don't know what's wrong with your child, or your child's acting different, you have no answers, then I don't want to let parents know that you have the right to go into their room. In California law, I don't know about Michigan or Florida.
Oh,
California law,
you
have
the right.
Law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Established that. That's great.
And that's why you have a right to tell yourself, no more blue hair, please. No blue hair.
I wonder what people were thinking, or what kind of mother is that?
No blue hair. I saw it. I didn't like it.
You guys don't know.
No.
You don't know what I'm through with her begging and begging.
Yeah.
I'm just letting her, express herself right now.
Yeah,
and
I
it turned out to work out. It worked out really well. She thinks I'm the best mother in the world.
Yeah, she's good. I was just surprised when I saw blue hair. I was like, what? She has beautiful hair, blue hair.
I know. She does have beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
It's a different world out there. I mean, I've got friends who, they're well educated, they're, well off, they have, brilliant kids, but then I hear them talking about they don't know what to do. Their kids are vaping and sexting and doing underage drinking, and it's just like, whoa, we weren't doing that when we were kids. It's like,
no, yeah, you're right. And
like,
I don't want to mention no names, but in LA we have a lot of celebrity children running around. They're on narcotics, they're doing drugs, and they're on something where it's I see it, and I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if you how famous you are. If you're not in touch with your children and you don't spend time with them, they're going to run off. They're going to do what they want to do, and I've seen it, and and I lived it. So it's you're right, Kelly. It's right. It's crazy. It's a different world. It's a different world.
Yeah, it is, and it's like, they're definitely, there are some kids that are definitely in a hurry to get, grown up, and it's like, what's the hurry? Enjoy being a kid, but you can tell them that, and
no, the time of us going and playing outside for hours and hours is gone. I mean, they're inside their computer, they're on their computer the whole time, their phones the whole time. I mean, it's when we were outside playing, at least our parents could monitor us and tell us to come inside. Now it's different. I mean, they could be on their phones late at night and we don't know. And it's just something that we have to adjust. I mean, the society's changing and technology's changing. It's just different.
Yeah, they have access to everything. It's like Victoria has no secrets anymore.
Yeah, see? Yeah. I mean,
what about the TV shows, though, out there? The TV shows that you see, because my dad was a pilot, and when he would see aviation TV shows and things, he'd be like, oh, God, that's BS. It's not the way it really is, and he would get upset. Are the shows realistic that we're watching about the police force? And does it, if it's not, does it bug you?
No, yes, it's sad because we see it all the time. Like the media will portray officers as being negative and they only tell the public the bad things about the officers, but they never say the good things. I mean, it's just because it's ratings, it's media, it's ratings, and it's just it's a different world. It's a different world, and it's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I see it, it's frustrating.
Actually, I have a comment to say about that. I work for a this is why I'm bringing this up. I work for a company called Employee Awareness Association, and we do something called Lunch and Learns. Now, do you ever have a lunch and learn where you're at, or
what is it called again?
They're called Lunch and Learns, and we said I'm bringing this up. Well, this is what it entails. It entails a doctor comes to where you are and brings everybody in the group lunch, and the lunch is free. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to purchase anything, and you get a lecture on a particular topic. The thing that's interesting is there are certain people, this is where the pro-police part comes in. There are certain places where what they do is they just give you the lunch because you can't accept gifts. See, like if we was to give you, and I'm not sure if it's true in California, but I think I don't know if we would be able to give you a lunch and learn. We would be able to give you a learn. But we wouldn't be able to give you a lunch because that would be considered gifts. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm.
Yeah, I know. It's called gratuity. I mean, again. I mean, we're not allowed to accept gratuities, But again, no officer throughout their whole career is not going to have a gratuity. And people always give us stuff, and they appreciate us, and we could tell them no, but they still do it. I mean, you're talking about gratuity, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
Are you saying that somebody would get you into that you could get in trouble if somebody gives you a sandwich? I mean, I don't understand that.
Well, the thing is,
I gave them a headshot.
Yes, you did.
I was trying to buy
all the
time.
officers.
Yeah.
And we all loved it.
I was trying to buy time.
We all loved it. And you give it to all my partners, and they all loved it. That's why whatever Barbara needs, we'll get Barbara. But what's it called?
Well, you got to use your perks that are available.
Yeah, she had all the LAPD forces, good to go. But the what's it called? The gratuity, like it's like say I'm having breakfast at a cafe or whatever, and there's people that will just after we eat, the waitress or the waiter will come to us and say, hey, your food's taken care of. This person took care of your food, and there's nothing we could do. We have to accept it. But we're not supposed to take it. But at one point in time, you're gonna take a gratuity, and is it wrong? Yes, it's wrong. But I mean, it's something that you cannot stop. You can't stop.
I mean, I think I would rather let something like that slide than what we're talking about today with the human trafficking. I mean, if you know, I mean, cooking food for a bunch of policemen in exchange. I mean, there's one that's not as bad as the other. Obviously, I mean, and I don't think that anybody, in a way, you could receive it as a respect. I mean, these. You know, whoever is giving, I think you can tell that this is a gratuity, you know, because obviously, I mean, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Gratuity is kind of strange.
Well, it's not
basically.
Yeah, it's not like organized crime is buying your lunch for protection.
Yeah. No. We
They
I
wouldn't
think
be
we know the
giving you
difference.
food, they'd be giving you money. Now,
you know,
I
a
know,
regular
money, yes, that would make some sense.
Lunch, you know.
That'd be like, I mean, actually, can you imagine? There's an actual line in a commercial. It goes something like this: the cop pulls the guy over and he goes, "Is that an empty container in your car, son?" And the guy goes, "Yes." And it turned out to be the big thing of ice cream. And the cop goes, "Can I have some?" You know,
yeah.
It was.
I don't know who's going to get us kicked out of the police force for that.
Yeah, no.
Or having a breakfast on the cafe. I mean, please. So it boils down to, you know, thank goodness it's still human. It's still, you're able to be a human. I mean, what do people expect? Rules. I mean, okay, they're there. But we're also human. So we kind of have to roll with it, move with it. And you're doing it, and you're doing a great job. You've raised a wonderful boy and a wonderful daughter, and we will put good vibes and prayers out for you for the next 5 years that you're serving people. Yeah, we think
Thank you
about
so much.
it.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank
and
you
if
so
you
much.
don't think that others out there think about it, they do. Right, you guys? I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What you're doing. I've thought about it a lot, how you get up every morning and you put your uniform on and you go out and you're risking your life. This is your job. This is your career. People, be nice to the policemen. Don't give them a hard time. They've got enough calls to deal with that are really the hard ones. You know, if you get pulled over on a traffic stop, just put your hand. What are we supposed to do? Put our hands on the steering wheel. Run us through what we're supposed to do, because we get really nervous. I mean, we're getting pulled over. What do we do?
I still get nervous. If I get pulled over by a police officer, I get nervous. I still get nervous. And you know what? You know why you're nervous is because we could affect your pocket. If we give you a ticket, it's going to be a $400 or $500 ticket. So that's why you get nervous. You're like, damn, you notice it when you get nervous. You get nervous because, damn, what if I get a ticket? It's gonna cost me $400. So I get nervous. Everybody gets nervous because it's gonna affect it could affect your pocket. But my thing is just be cooperative. You know, tell the officer, I apologize, because again, if you're nice to the officer, more likely to give you a warning, or he'll cite you for front plate or something small. But he'll understand.
Warn you. Just warn you.
I'll warn you. Yes, warn you. I mean, again, I always put myself this way. I always tell myself, when I pull somebody over, or if I'm dealing with somebody out on a radio call, I always think, how would I want my mother to be treated? So when I approach the car, how would I want my mom to be treated? So what I say is, and I look at it and say, the person says, sir, I'm sorry, I was on my cell phone, I was talking to my kids, I'm worried. I said, did I do that before? Yes, I've done that before. So no, you know what? I'll warn you this time. Or if I go to a call and somebody broke into a woman's house or a man's house, I treat them the way I would want the police to treat my family, to treat my mother, and treat them. And that's the way I deal with every single call.
That's a nice outlook, frame of mind.
Yeah, that's the way I do it.
But you're so right, because when I was pulled over to do that field sobriety test, they said, oh, by the way, your brake lights aren't working, which
There you go.
Oh, I did not know that. And they said, get that fixed, because the ticket, they didn't give me a ticket. The ticket, because I told them, oh, I'm moving back to L.A. They said, the tickets in L.A. are a lot more expensive than here. So they had that in their mind, that monetary thing.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's expensive. It's expensive. And
I only had one ticket my whole entire life, ever, for speeding when I was in my 20s. Ever. I guess that was expensive. So actually, I'm not even thinking about money. I'm thinking about, I just get nervous, like being on the spot and like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You know, I mean, all kinds of things go through your mind.
Yeah.
But it should. Hello, you're there for a reason. Because I could be a nut job. I could be a criminal. I could be doing something horrible. And then I deserve the consequences. But I just so happened to not be doing anything wrong, and then they let me go.
And then all the time we look at this. Anybody we approach, until we approach and we stop you, anybody that's defensive, comes out defensive, probably did something wrong. It's when you're more defensive. When you come out saying, "Why'd you stop me? Why'd you stop me?" And you're already you already give us a negative attitude, and you're being defensive. Usually that person did something wrong, and we look at all that too.
Wow. What if you have somebody that is inappropriate, like you see on the cop show, like these girls who get flirtatious, or, I mean, not flashing, because then you take them right in. But how do you deal with that? You're like, I don't need this, or you think it's funny, or what? I mean, I don't think that would work, but I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, as an officer, I had 22 years. I mean, I've been offered dinner, cooking lessons, salsa, or sex. I mean, but you've been offered all that. When you pull somebody over, they offer you all that. I mean, you see that, you do that. I mean, you want, I mean, an officer, like, it's job security. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to do anything wrong. So what you do is you kind of your partner's there too, so he can hear everything, and you just, I mean, you could warn that person and warn them. I mean, it's our choice to whether warn them or not. But again, we're videoed, and
all the time
gotta,
you're videoed.
Yeah, we're videoed. The way our department is that anytime we come in contact with the public, we got to put our camera on. So we're always monitored and videoed. But it doesn't mean that you cannot warn people. I don't mind.
Does that make
because
people
I try
more protected?
No, yeah, it feels protected, but if you do your job right, it's not going to matter. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's times where I may cuss on the camera. I may say something like dumb, or I may go to the restroom when I got the cameras on, and that's kind of embarrassing. But it's just if I'm trying to do my job right, and I'm doing my job on a daily basis, and I'm doing it right, correctly, no officer would feel scared by having the camera on, or no officer would feel insecure about having the camera.
Okay, good. Wow, well, this has been wonderful and all so entertaining and informative at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Ellie and Johnny?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
just
enjoyed
really.
this very much.
You know, I put the police officers and anybody who's helping the people, the fire department, well, that's about it. Or, you know,
Well, paramedics,
the military too. And paramedics and the military. I put them like a little bit higher. And so I am so very grateful. I feel so much gratitude for you coming on, Tim.
Oh no, anything, any time you guys want me to come, and any questions that the listeners have, you know, if you need to answer any questions for them, any legal questions or anything, I mean, it would be fantastic. I mean, I like to educate the public if they have any questions, maybe have personal questions regarding a ticket they got or how could they go about certain things, and you know, it just definitely I would love to answer that for them. It's just education.
Helpful.
That's all we need is education.
And you helped my best friend Elkie with a couple of tickets. And I thank you for that. So, wow. We won't go into the details. It was very minor, like, I don't know, window tinting issue or something.
Yeah.
But it's always good to know a police officer. And now you guys do. And where can we find you? If you want to let us know, because I know you do social media. You're active on there. You're a cool guy. Do you want to let anybody know?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What happened? I didn't hear that.
Do you want anybody to be able to contact you, Tim, on your social media? If not, you don't have to say. But
No. Yeah, I rather contact Barbara Moore and then contact the show, and then you guys could contact me. That's what you guys.
Well, they're gonna know your name.
I know, but it's fine. But it's fine. You know what? I mean, it's more about education. I mean, it's just more any type of question they have or anything if they want to.
That's what I meant.
And I mean, it's all safety.
Education.
It's all safety. Yes, education. That's all it is.
Did you have some special people listening tonight? Like your uncle, he was so sweet. Is he listening tonight?
You know, I hope he is. I told my family what we're having, and I have my girlfriend's listening, and hopefully my family, my mother, but I don't know if they got into it, but you know, hopefully they are. I'm hoping. I mean,
awesome.
It'd be nice.
Well, we want to say hi to all of them. Yeah, we want to say hi to all of them. But the show link that I gave you, that is good to listen to now and after. So if they didn't catch it live, they can always go to our YouTube channel, Life, Laughter, Happiness YouTube, and find it there, right at the top. So, wow, thank you so much. And
thank you so much.
I think our 90-minute show is coming to a close. Do you guys have any more questions for Tim at all?
Just thank you for coming on.
I think I have.
Oh.
I just have one quick one. Is there anything that you would have as far as advice goes for people that have home security systems to make sure that hackers can't get in and see through your video camera or your smart TV?
Well, you know what the thing is that with that, I mean, I would contact the actual security company. But the only thing I tell you is if they really want to hack into your stuff, there's always a way. I mean, it just, I don't care, because I have like several security monitoring systems in my home. And if anybody wants to hack in, I mean, they're going to find a way. But I would go directly to the professionals that actually set it up and all that, and actually the IT that does all that, they'll let you know. But on that, I mean, it's, boy, did you have an issue with that? Did somebody hack into your home security system?
Not mine personally, but I've just read about different ways that, people are doing that. Like there were some girls that the only way that they knew that it was happening was somebody was talking back through their security system to the girls.
Yeah,
and they alerted their parents. But if they hadn't been talked to, they wouldn't have known.
You know, the thing is that see Alexa, they have an issue. They're saying that Alexa listens to all your conversations and all that. I mean, the way the world's going, the way the society's going, it's too much. We're not going to be able to catch up. I mean, it's like Brinks or your ADT or anything. I mean, can they hack into that? Yes, they can hack into that. They can hack into that system fast. But what are you going to do? I mean, it's again, what I would do is I would still get the system, but maybe talk to the company and ask them what kind of precautions they took. Because they might have certain blockade thing, or they might do some things. It depends on the company. But it has nothing to do with LAPD or the police department or whatever. Until it actually happens, then you guys call us. But I would go directly to the company, ask them what they did, what they do for those types of circumstances.
Okay. Are you getting a lot of calls where people are like finding out that somebody's hacking into it, or is that really not like involving you guys?
Well, yeah, something like when they hack into your computer, yeah. See, it depends on what they're doing. If it comes a crime, if they're hacking in, they're getting like identity theft. If they're going in there and getting stuff that they could use for, they could use like your identity or whatever. That's then you contact us. It's when it actually happens is when we have to get involved. But before, to prevent it, you got to call you got to talk to your home security department and see what they have in place that could deter it. Because we're just there to make sure it prevent it from happening, but we don't know. The certain companies have different deterrents, and that's where we see. So, I mean, I would go contact your local home security department, and then they'll let you know what they have. But again, if they really want to get into to hack it, if they're hackers, then they're going to get into it. I mean, I can't tell you that they can't or they never will do that, because this is what you got to do. Because I see it all the time. I see how people come up with, like, it's like those calls you get. You get the people that call you up and say, "We're IRS. We need you to call us up and send us this much money." You used to have people sending money to them. You have older people, retired people that are sending $25,000 to them, $2,500 to them, send all the retirement.
Oh.
Yeah, and I see it all the time. I see that all the time, and we get called after. And they don't get reimbursed. They lose all that money. So that's another thing. Identity theft or those type of calls. That's a crime that's a crime that's actually expanding. It's actually elevating. It's just the we have so many victims of that type of crime. It's just out of control right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's very careful of that because I know people.
Oh, yeah.
Do you too, Kelly?
Oh, yeah. I know
$50,000. My girlfriend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they lose it. And the banks don't return that money because you gave them the money. The banks won't. It's not insured because you actually gave them the money. So, you talk about educating. Like this show here, you're telling the people, hey, if the IRS calls you up, call your IRS. You could call them up and say, hey, did you guys call me? And they'll tell you. I mean, don't trust it. If the IRS tells you to send money, if they say we need you to send a bill or you're going to get arrested or send money now, don't believe it. Police won't arrest you for not paying your bills. Police will never arrest you for not paying your bills. That's the way it is. IRS is not going to arrest you for not paying that. They'll
no debtor's prison.
Exactly. So just I mean, that's a crime that's going up high. It's a crime that a lot of older retired people are getting hit on a daily basis, and that's what kind of scares me as an officer because I can't control that. I can't prevent it.
It is.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I had somebody call me with Consumers Energy's number coming across my phone, saying that I was about to have my power shut off, that I needed to pay this now, and I said no. And then I called my electric company, which was Consumers Power, and they said, no, you're up to date, you're fine. So had I paid that, I would have been paying who knows what.
That's another thing you got to talk to. Next time you guys bring me, if you guys bring me on the next time, you guys invite me, we'll go into more detail on that stuff. Maybe to help prevent people from doing stuff. You guys let me know because I want to educate as many people as I can. So if you guys invite me, any questions they have, people could call in and say, hey, Tim, I have a question about this and that. What can I do? Hey, you guys can always invite me, and I will be more than happy to do that.
Because I have another question for next time too, which is like how do you feel about them legalizing marijuana? Because
you guys could ask me anything, any type of question. I will be honest with you guys.
Much
Oh,
more.
perfect.
Okay.
We'd love to have you back.
Thank you for offering that. Wow, we have our own Life, Laughter, Happiness LAPD officer.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
You guys could use that. Because it's all about education. It's all about telling the truth. I will be honest with you guys. I will tell you how I feel. I will tell you what the right steps to take. And again, I mean, it's all about education. It makes my job easier. People understand the way we
are educated.
We are. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stay on the line. I think it's time to close the show, right, Johnny?
Yes. Whose turn is it to do the shout out? Is it yours, Barbara?
I believe it is, right, Kelly?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did last night. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you. What an informative and entertaining show, like I just said. Oh, wow. We are so grateful to have Tim Ruiz, LAPD officer, on tonight. So if you missed it live, you can listen to this show on our Life, Laughter, Happiness YouTube channel. And you can pick and choose from our other over 300 shows at the same time while you go and look for this show. And please visit us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook group page and our main page, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Across the board, social media, Life, Laughter, Happiness. We would love to hear from you. And please send us questions because, you just heard it from Tim, his mouth. You just heard him say, hey, come at me for your next show with your next questions. This is exciting, Tim. And wow, thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And then thank you guys for having me on there. It's always a pleasure, and I really appreciate it. And just, again, education, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Barbara. Always good to hear from you. Nice meeting you, Jonathan. Nice meeting you, Callie. And thank you, Barbara.
Nice to meet you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
everyone.
Have a
Good night,
great
Kelly.
night, everybody.
Good night, Barbara.
Good night.
Have a
Good
great
night,
night.
Kelly.
Great
Bye-bye.
to meet you.
Good night.